You ever read something on your phone or your laptop, then go outside, take a walk, ponder your thoughts, recollect yourself, and then read it a second time and still go, that's a load of crap. What the hell are you doing here? Are we really going for the clickbait at this point? Because that's kind of the way I felt when I was reading ESPN's top 10 coaches going into 2024. Now, the usual suspects did appear. Kirby Smart was number one. Dabo Swinney was in the top five. Lane Kiffin, Kalen DeBoer, Dan Lanning, Steve Sarkisian, even Mike Norvell got their flowers for the job that they've done at their respective universities. But one prominent name was left off the list, and it felt like a cardinal sin at this point. There was no recollection of LSU's Brian Kelly. And if you want to find a way to make your list more insubordinate than ever before, don't include the Bayou Bengal coach in your top 10 rankings. So today I figured, let's talk about where Brian Kelly ranks among active coaches in college football. But if you're new here, welcome on into the channel, people. I know I've been gone for a little while. I'm back and we're making content every single day covering college football. So hit the subscribe button and comment down below. Where do you think Brian Kelly ranks among active coaches in college football? Tell your friends, your family, your mortal enemies, best of bros, LSU fans, SEC faithful, and college football aficionados everywhere about this channel, because we're on the race to become the #1 YouTube show talking about our favorite sport daily. Follow me on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We got you covered at Mr. Cole Thompson. And if you want a question read live on air, slide into my DMs or email me at colethompsonwriting@gmail.com. So where does Brian Kelly rank among active coaches? Before we go any further, I am a proponent in society that you are entitled to your opinion, as long as it's not damning to where it is actually going to cause malice to somebody. You are entitled to your opinion. Perfect example. I think sour cream is the most disgusting thing out there, and I cannot deal with mayo. Those are two condiments that if you put anywhere near my plate, I won't eat it. I just can't. But I know people out there that love sour cream. I know people out there that love mayo. My wife indulges herself in mayo. She puts it on everything. But that does not mean that I have to like it. But then there has to be factual evidence behind it. When it comes to like mayo or sour cream, it's like, I just don't like the taste. There's something about the afterburn that just lingers around. And even if I brush my teeth immediately, I'm going to have it around my peripherals for days on end. I can't stand it. What did Brian Kelly do to not prove that he is a top 10 coach? And I like Chris Lowe and I like ESPN's articles, but you're really going to tell me that a guy who has done everything for his universities and has always found a way to build off of his last stop isn't worthy of top 10 status? Brian Kelly has been to a national championship and 2 college football playoff appearances with Notre Dame. Let's go back to that Notre Dame BCS national championship. The only way that you were going to go is if you were undefeated, and everyone knew that going into the year. It was when they said, well, the national championship is really being played in Atlanta 2 weeks before against Alabama, Georgia, because they're going to kick them to the curb. But you have to realize, since they aren't independent, there's no margin for error. And that does not just include when it comes to wins and losses, that includes with productivity. You have to play your best game every single Saturday. You have to be at the top of the ball, regardless of who is walking in to South Bend, Indiana, or where you're going. USC, Central Michigan, Buffalo, Florida State. It doesn't matter the competition. You have to show out and prove to society and to voters that you are the best team on the field that day. Yeah, he did that in 2012. It's why they were undefeated until they ran into the buzzsaw that was Nick Saban. Then in 2018, if you guys don't remember this, they also were undefeated. Top 5 finish. They beat everybody that year except for Clemson for a shot at the national title. And they played some pretty convincing games. Number 7 Stanford, number 24 Virginia Tech, number 12 Syracuse. They played Florida State. They played at USC, and they won every single game. Some were close, some weren't. And then, of course, you had the year with the COVID-19 policy. They went to the ACC. They won the ACC, and naturally they got in the playoffs. But that's a coach that's been to multiple playoff appearances and a national championship. Kalen DeBoer came on the list at number 2, and I like Kalen DeBoer. And as an Alabama grad, I'm excited to see what he brings to Tuscaloosa. 1 national championship appearance, 1 college football playoff appearance. Steve Sarkisian was listed ahead of him. 1 college football playoff appearance, 1 national championship as a coordinator. Dan Lanning has not been to a college football playoff. Lane Kiffin has been to a college football playoff. Mike Norvell has not been to a college football playoff, but all of them were listed ahead of Brian Kelly. Just have me make sense of that. Since being named the head coach at Grand Valley State, 15 10-plus win seasons at 3 different universities. His 73% win rate is only lower than 2 coaches who are active in college football, Dabo Swinney being one and Kirby Smart being another. He's a 2-time AP Coach of the Year. He's the only 3-time Head Coach of the Year for the Home Depot Award. He has the 3rd most postseason appearances, if you include the national championship, in 2012 among active coaches behind, you guessed it, Dabo Swinney and Kirby Smart. On top of that, he is the fastest coach in LSU history to get to 20 wins. Here's the crazy part about LSU. So I remember when everybody was coming out and they were saying, well, how can a guy from Boston, Massachusetts, who has no recollection of the South, understand what it means to be a part of this culture? He's going to get eaten alive and spit back out because if he tastes funky by Baton Rouge. No, he embraced it. No, he went above and beyond with his fake accent, with trying to win over the popularity and realized, okay, but that's not going to work. Here's what is. Wins. That was a roster that was coming off a downtrodden season that barely made it to a bowl game. They needed one major throw from Max Johnson against Texas A&M to finish the Ed Orgeron era on the right note. And after that, they lost a slew of talent via the transfer portal. And so what does a guy like Brian Kelly do? Well, he works the portal in his favor. He brings over countless names. And on top of all of that, which might be even more poignant, he starts getting back to the basics. Some people don't realize that it's important to recruit at all stages of the game, especially in a new era of college football where you're going to start seeing 5-star talents in Iowa, 5-star talents in Minnesota, 5-star talents out in Oregon and in North Carolina and in DC. But in your own backyard, right around just the entire state of Louisiana and East Texas, where there are kids that grew up watching Tiger football, wanting to wear and bleed the purple and yellow, they started becoming priorities for Brian Kelly. So the man said, I'm going to recruit at a national level, but I'm going to make sure that I put my poignancy and, more importantly, I'm going to put my main resources into keeping kids at home because I'm tired of seeing them go to Alabama. I'm tired of seeing them strut it up at Auburn. I'm tired of guys like Lane Kiffin and Josh Heupel stealing players from this state and bringing them over to the Volunteer State, bringing them on over to the Magnolia State. No, I'm going to keep them home. And what happened? Year one, he goes to Atlanta after beating Nick Saban in his own backyard. I mean, in Baton Rouge, he gets to 10 wins. And a year later, when there still is question marks and there's no defense whatsoever, in fact, you could say that last year's offense was so good they would have won a national championship. He still got them to 10 wins. He has a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. He potentially has another one waiting in the wings in Garrett Nussmeier. They're going to finish with a top 10 recruiting class back-to-back years. And they may get the number 1 recruiting class in 2024. So all the analogies and all the anomalies out there that says he can't recruit just went out the door as another 5-star says, I want to go play at Tiger Stadium. I want to go play for Coach BK. I want to be a part of this system. And the craziest part of all, he's willing to adapt. We talk about Dabo Swinney. We just did a video not too long ago mentioning how Swinney is not willing to change his ways. And like the dinosaurs, eventually he's going to be extinct. Brian Kelly did not have to hold on to any one of his defensive staffs. He could have also said, no, this was a rebuilding year. We're going to start fresh. No, instead he says, no, I'm going to go hire Blake Baker, who I let go of, and he went to Missouri, crushed it there, and now I'm back, and guess what? Now I'm going to benefit and reap the benefits. You know what? If I got to pay an extra $2 million to go get him, so be it. I'd much rather feel comfortable with my defense, with an offense that still is high tempo, with guys like Kyron Lacey, guys like CJ Daniels coming over from Liberty. I'd much rather that than have to wonder what could have been. Like everyone at USC is wondering, we had a Heisman Trophy quarterback on our roster and an elite offense for back-to-back years, yet we finished 7-5. Yeah, Brian Kelly can make that same argument because of the offense that he had in Baton Rouge, and it was the same reason. Defense. He's not sticking around. He's not hitching his wagon just for loyalty or what somebody has done for him in the past. No, he's willing to adapt now because if he realizes this is LSU, this is the new jungle of the beast, and if I'm not willing to make the necessary changes, I'm going to be shown the door like Les Miles. I'm going to be shown the door like Ed Orgeron. I'm going to be shown the door like every other coach that is never willing to put their foot down and say, this is what needs to happen. In my opinion right now, Dabo Swinney is not the number 4 coach in college football. And I would say Kalen DeBoer, who comes in at number 2, is probably top 10, but he's more so closer to 10 than he is to 1. you can make an argument that outside of Kirby Smart, with adaptability, with consistent success, with the numbers, with the production, with the way that they've worked the portal, and with how they've started recruiting, Brian Kelly is the second best coach in college football. He's my second best coach. He's a lot of people that I trust second best coach. There's a reason for optimism. He has over 100 wins. Do you know how hard that is to get? The man, throughout his entire tenure, has gone to the brink with 283 wins. That's the third most and among active coaches, second most among active coaches in college football. And he's not top 10 on your radar. I'm sorry, you're sadly mistaken. We are all entitled to our opinions. If you want to say he's top 5, so be it. If you want to have him at number 7, I'll argue with you a little bit, but I'm not going to go to war over this. I will go to war for Brian Kelly when it comes to top 10 status. You don't do what you've done at Grand Valley State, Cincinnati, Notre Dame, and LSU and don't deserve your flowers. If Kalen DeBoer can get his flowers after 2 seasons at Washington, if Mike Norvell can get his flowers after 2 successful seasons in Tallahassee, and if Lane Kiffin can turn a program around like no one's business in Oxford, then why can't Brian Kelly, who's been the definition of consistency since his time with the Bearcats, not be ranked inside the top 5? You can make an argument that he is not a top 2 coach in college football. But to say he's not top 10, sorry, that's not even an opinion. That's just a wrong statement. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the link down below. That way you don't miss a single episode of Just Saying It. Follow me on social media, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, at Mr. Cole Thompson. Continue to like the video, share it with people, tell your friends, your family, your mortal enemies, best of bros, LSU faithful, SEC fans, and college football aficionados everywhere about this channel. And as always, until next time, see you later, folks.